What's up, YouTube? This is going to be my afterthought after run review of the Tamiya TT-02B Plasma Edge 2 4-wheel drive racing buggy. This buggy actually comes in a kit. If you're not familiar with Tamiya, it's got to be fully assembled from all the diff gears to mounting the tires and the wheels on each other. Everything. Also, the bodies come clear. You have to paint them. I mean, you don't have to, but they have to be painted, or they should be painted. Oil-filled shocks, things like that. This one needs to be tightened, it seems. Like I said, 4-wheel drive. It does have plastic drive shafts with metal pins, if you can see that, but they work great, and I've seen people running these with brushless systems quite a bit with no problem. I probably will eventually upgrade to the metal dog bones, and I'm still running the brush system in here that came with it. It's a torque tuned 25 turn motor. I did add a fan. I added this fan here, and I'm running a 2S LiPo. As you can see here, it does have a plastic drive shaft, a center shaft as well as the dog bone shafts. Like I said, I haven't seen a problem with it. Of course, I'm running brush still, but I've seen people run this setup with brushless. I think up to 10.5 turn brushless motors with the stock setup, no problem. I'm probably gonna go with a 13.5. I was gonna go 10.5, but I'm thinking 13.5. I've got a 17.5 over there in the Durga. But the cool thing about this is this ESC. So as you can see, it's brushless ESC, but it's running a brushed motor right now. It's because it's programmable to run both. You could run both brushed or brushless. So you just use the programming set button. It's kind of like the Hobby Wing ones, a bunch of lights and a bunch of flashes and things like that. And you just kind of set it up for either brushless or brushed, and all your braking and your reverse, your drag brake, your punch, everything like that can be adjusted through the ESC here. You have to run a censored system, and there's your sensor port there. And that's cool because I'm digging censored. I like the censored one in this. It's instant punch. You know, sometimes you get your sensorless, brushless, you've got a little bit of lag, or you get that tiny cog real quick and you take off. Even if it's minute, you can barely tell it's there, it's there. Not always, but it is, especially if you're running any kind of aggressive gearing. With your censored system, it's just boom, punch. There is no cog. Anyway, censored systems pretty much eliminate cog. And so I'm going to run a 13.5 in here. I've got a 2S LiPo battery pack right now, and it's been running real good. I didn't use the receiver box that comes with it because I'm going to be changing stuff around. After it's set up completely with the 13.5 censored brushless, and I'm not going to be messing with it too much anymore, then I'll go ahead and put the receiver box and set everything up and make it look a little cleaner. I did add this fan. You can either add a fan here, or you can just put the Tamiya cap that goes on top of there. But I had an extra fan, so I put it on. And I'm running the Futaba servo, the standard Futaba. I think it's more like a 6, around a 6 kg. I'm not sure about these Futabas exactly how much torque and how fast they are. I'm running aluminum steering arm, servo arm. You can see that. These were good. I've bought a few of those. I have one in my other buggies. And other than that, everything's still pretty much stock. Besides the Pro lines, I just pretty much added this, and these, and a LiPo, of course. I did use different eyes back here. in the directions they want you to use the short ones. For some reason, they recommend the short eyes like that. And it just made the back ends a little bit too low with those. And they came with two different sets, so these longer ones did a better job. Back here, before I couldn't put my knuckles under, and now I can. And all I did was change these. It was squatting down too far in the back. These oil field chocks are not bad at all. I've got similar version of my Durga over here. Right. Transmitter. So I found this transmitter. I've never heard of it before. Turbo Racing. I'm not sure what company that is, but it's a decent setup here. You know, you've got your digital setup here with all your dual rates and things like that, and then you've also got your trims here and there. And your third channel is right there in the front. Spring feels good. Can't complain. And I think this was $28. So I really can't complain. I have a couple of those 3-channel as well. They're okay. One of them's Ost, whatever the heck they're called. And this one I think is Ghoul RC, but they're the exact same. And they're decent. And they're around 20 to 30 bucks, depending on where you can find them. So when I found this one for a similar price, I jumped on it because it's digital. And it's not bad at all. It takes 4 AA's, and I've had no problems with this whatsoever so far. I haven't really took it out to check the range yet, so we'll do that soon. Anyway, back to the buggy. I mean, it's been a long time since I built a Tamiya. So I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I know the Durga's top quality, but that's a special car. You know, this is a belt-driven mid-motor. It's a special car that Tamiya produced for a while, limited time. These are quite common. They make the TT-02 chassis, which is an on-road touring chassis, and it's basically the same thing as this. They just add different suspension, you know, different longer dog bones, longer A-arms, steering arms, things like that. But this part, the center chassis, is pretty much the same thing. And so I wasn't expecting too much, but this thing handles good. And we'll see what it does with the mild brushless. As you can see, it's got the torque tune motor. We'll see what it does on the mild brushless. But right now on 2S with this torque tune motor, it handles real well. It's real planted. I haven't jumped it yet. I will this week. If you guys watch my video, I didn't want to jump just yet. But as far as handling wise, this thing handles real good, especially on these tires. Those over there, those pins, they kind of grip almost too much. You got to be on like a dirt track or maybe like some loose dirt for those pins. On grass and pavement. On pavement, they just spin out, and on grass, they grip almost too much. These are pretty good all the way around. So I really like this car. I don't see any really flaws with it. I mean, you could flaw, you know, because it has plastic dog bones, but they're not a problem. You know, you could say it had a plastic center shaft, but it's not a problem. You know. So what can I take a point off of for this? I'm thinking, I'm looking, I'm trying to take a point off. I really can't. If you want a 4-wheel drive buggy kit and you don't want to spend $300-400 and you're not really going to be racing, or you're just going to start off racing, and this is the kit for you. And you know, you could always buy the adjustable links, adjustable turnbuckles here, you know. You can get, you know, the metal diff upgrades with the metal diff gears and the metal dog bones. You could always get metal body shocks. They make the complete aluminum setup for the steering. They make aluminum everything for this, except for, I think, the chassis pan. And I'm not sure if I've seen aluminum arms. I don't think I have, but a lot of the important parts you can make aluminum on this. If you wanted to race competitively, you probably could. I wouldn't see why you couldn't. And these kits are around $150. Of course, you've got to add your own transmitter and battery, but that's not a big deal. Under $200, you know, you've got it set up. You know, you figure 140 for this, 150, 140, 150, depending on what site you go to. You get this for $30. You're looking at $170, $180. If you don't have a battery sitting around, you get them for $20. You're looking at $190, $200. And you get the experience of building, and that's the main thing. Putting these together is the best part almost. And then watching them perform after you built this, that's the best part about it, you know. It's great for kids. It's great for adults too. It's great to learn if you've never done it before. If you've never done this before, then you might have trouble with the diffs and things like that. So maybe, you know, have a little bit of help. Or if you're a kid that's never built this before, you might need a little bit of parents' guidance on some parts here. But it's not that hard of a build. It is four-wheel drive, so there's a little bit more to it. But other than that, I mean, I don't know what to take a point off for. I guess I'll just have to take a point off for the plastic dog bones and the plastic shaft. I guess I'll take a half a point because they work well. And like I said, I've seen people use these on brushless, no problem. But I'll take a half point for the dog bones being plastic, and then a half a point for the center shaft being plastic. So that takes 1 point off. So we'll give it a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. Great buggy. Fun to build, fun to drive. Just a great all-around buggy. Back here, I'm going to put my a brushless system in here right now. I had one here before. It was giving me a bunch of problems. I just ordered a new one. If you can see how big this thing is though right now, look at the comparison. This is pretty much a standard size buggy. It's like 10 3/4, I think, wheelbase. Standard is size. I think 11 might be standard. So this might be like a little bit shorter than standard. But this one's 12 3/4. If I remember correctly, I think that's 12 and a half or 12 3/4. And I put hex extenders on it, so it's wide too. If you see how wide that is now, it's it's almost an 8 scale now. It's basically an 8 scale short course truck now, because it was already pretty long, and now I've added the width. So I'm gonna put a brushless system in here. Just a 60 amp. 43 kV. It's the same system I had before, but just from a different company. And we'll see if that works better, because I had problems with the ASC. I had an 80 amp ESC in here. It was giving me problems. I put the 60 amp in. It ran fine, but it kept cutting off. Thermal cut off and kick in after a minute or two every time, and it wasn't even feeling that hot. So I'm going to gear it down to 17 tooth from the 22 or 23 is what it was in it, and then see if that helps. Hopefully it does. I've got a brand new AC and a brand new motor, and I want to get this thing out there and running. I really haven't got a chance to run too much because I drove it like once or twice while it was brushed, I think once on nickel metal and once on a 2S lipo, and then I swapped it to brushless, and just started running into problems with my ESCs. So hopefully tonight I'll get a little run in, and then maybe this weekend we'll take it to an area like a grass field or something like that that they can open up, and we'll run it on 3S and see how fast it can go on a 17 tooth. It's probably going to be a little slower, but it'll have a little bit more punch. But anyway, that's for another day. Back to this, 9 out of 10. Gotta love these buggies. TT-02B Plasma Edge version 2. And this is actually a re-release, I forgot to say, because the original Plasma Edge 2 came on or it might have been just the Plasma Edge, came on a DF-02 chassis, if I remember correctly, and this chassis is different, and it's actually a better chassis. So this was like a re-release they came out with, I think it was 2016 maybe. Anyway, that's my afterthought review. Sorry for rambling on so much, but you know how much I love Tamiyas. You're going to see more of them. Alright? Peace.